What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
And we new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family without further ado. Let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
One of the biggest mistakes people make when they come to Australia is that they only visit Sydney. And while this is a beautiful city and a must-see destination for sure, the reality is that there's much more to Australia than Sydney. From the natural beauty of the Great Barrier Reef, Uluru and parts of Western Australia, to the cultural experiences of Melbourne and Tasmania. So if you're coming all the way to Australia and you've allocated enough time for your trip, I highly recommend considering taking advantage of budget airlines or road trips to explore different cities and regions. This way you'll gain a deeper appreciation of this beautiful country.
Now, 100%, and that's why going now. I love to just also see the natural curvature of life. You know what I'm saying? The way the trees have the different color. Man, we've seen some leaves that we have never seen before, and that alone was fascinating. You know what I'm saying? The development is always going to be cool, but it was built. So whoever had the idea to do that had money to do it. But the stuff that's really not paid in full for, that nature. Come on, man, that's some wonder right there for you.
Yeah, we're nature lovers, you know. Minus the hiking a little bit. You gotta just catch us on a good day. Okay, for that.
Now, having said that, having unrealistic itineraries and not allocating enough days to explore is another mistake many people make when coming to Australia, because they don't realize that this is a huge country and that distances between cities can be very long. So I highly recommend prioritizing your must-see destinations and activities to make sure you have plenty of time to fully experience each place, and allocating a minimum of 2 weeks for your trip. Shorter than that and you'll barely have time to recover from jet lag. Another pretty big mistake many people make when coming to Australia for a visit or to live here is that they drive without the proper documentation. If you're planning to drive here in Australia, you must bring your overseas driver's license, which should be in English, because if you don't have a valid license or if it's not translated into English, you can get in a lot of trouble, legal trouble. And this is also a requirement if you want to hire a car. So make sure you have your driver's license ready for your trip. And also remember that here in Australia, we drive on the left side of the road. This is super important to know and keep in mind, and I've mentioned it in other videos, but the reality is that accidents do happen, so please remember this. Another big mistake that I see many international visitors make, and you're going to be surprised by this one, is that they don't declare items in Australian border security. And this is a massive mistake. So much so that Australia actually has a TV show / documentary called Border Security, where they investigate people coming into the country and the things that they're bringing in. So let me explain very quickly. Basically, when you enter Australia, arrived at the airport, you're going to have to fill in a form where you declare the items that you're bringing in your bag. And these are items that are restricted or prohibited by Australian border security regulations. For example, certain foods, plants, animal products, medications, firearms, or even proof of certain vaccines, depending on where you're coming from. And if you fail to declare these items and they grab your bag and they find them, you can get in a lot of legal trouble. So my best advice is to get familiar with Australian customs regulations before your travel to avoid any issues once you're here.
I don't want that to happen.
Another mistake some international visitors make is not observing basic social etiquette in public spaces. For example, when you are at the train station or at the shopping center, here we stand on the left side of the escalator to allow others to pass, not on the right or the middle. And this is pretty important to not disturb those who are in a hurry or going to and from work. Another basic social rule is that we also wait for people to exit before entering trains or trams. We don't push our way in. And please refrain from putting your feet on public transport seats, because there are very hefty fines for doing so. They can go over $200 and I've mentioned this in many other videos, but it's very important to stress because I've seen it happening. People are tired after a long day of walking and they put their feet, and then the inspector comes in and you get a fine. So be sure to watch that. Now, probably many of you are watching this and thinking that all these things are common sense and basic good manners, but the reality is that we all come from different cultures, backgrounds, so it is not the same in all countries. Another mistake many tourists make when they come to Australia, especially for a visit, is that they leave a tip for absolutely everything. And the reality is that here in Australia, we don't have a tipping culture. This is because hospitality workers here receive a living wage, so tipping is considered optional and is generally only done if you think that you've received exceptional service. But again, this is a discretionary practice, not mandatory. It's up to you.
So I got a question for you because you have a heart in tipping, right? You'd love to be able to give good to good when other people do good. Would you feel uncomfortable at all doing it in a place where there's not a culture to tip at all?
I'll ask.
Or would you still?
I'll ask them, the person that I want to tip, if it's okay.
Okay.
If they say no, okay then.
It's all good. Okay. That's nice. That's nice.
Now, the next mistake many people make when they come to Australia is disturbing wildlife, such as attempting to touch or feed kangaroos or other wild animals. This is a huge mistake and something that you shouldn't be doing because it can be dangerous for both the animal and yourself. Wild animals can actually become very aggressive when you get too close, and feeding them can also disrupt their natural behaviors and diet. So my best advice is to admire them from a safe distance and refrain from attempting to interact with them. Now, having said that, many people coming to Australia for the first time, they go a bit overboard with the worry about encountering dangerous animals to the point where they don't really get to enjoy their trip, which in my opinion is completely unrealistic and a massive mistake. While it is true that Australia is home to very unique and potentially dangerous wildlife, such as snakes and spiders, most animals here pose no threat to humans unless you disturb them, as we said before. And another thing that many tourists don't know, especially those who worry so much, is that you actually have to go out of your way to see wildlife here. You have to go to more rural areas or even animal sanctuaries. So my best advice to overcome your fear is to educate yourself on local wildlife here in Australia and take common sense precautions to help alleviate any unnecessary fears that you may have.
No worries. You don't make eye contact with the
Now,
people.
the next
Good.
mistake on our list is swimming on beaches during periods where it's prohibited or swimming outside designated areas. I'm not sure if you know, but many beaches here in Australia experience strong currents, rips, or the presence of jellyfish in the water, especially during certain times of the year. So ignoring warning signs and swimming in prohibited areas can cause you serious injury or even death. And tourist drownings, believe it or not, are actually a thing here. So I highly recommend getting in the water only if you know how to swim and only in designated areas. And please follow safety instructions and warning signs when you are at the beach, etc. Another unfortunate mistake many tourists and visitors make, and I've seen it firsthand, and that's why I'm talking about it, is that they go hiking or they go camping, they go to a park, they have a picnic, and they don't take the trash. They litter the whole place. If you go camping or hiking here in Australia, especially in Australian national parks, you likely see that rubbish bins are not readily available. And this is because there's
That's just something that I just feel it don't matter like what culture you come from, what country you're coming from. Why y'all don't clean up after yourself? That's just nasty. That is so nasty.
And it's crazy because it sounds so personal.
It is very personal
Like
because
you
it's your
leave your
personal
trash.
trash.
Yeah. So it's like kind of give indication of the type of style you got almost.
They think they got maids.
Oh man, somebody do got to keep the beaches clean and stuff. So you can be a help by picking up your trash or not leaving your trash around. So I think that's important.
I brought this drink. I drink this drink. I'm gonna keep it here. Make it make sense. Be a adult.
an expectation that you'll take your waste with you, that you're not going to leave it behind. The fact that there are no rubbish bins doesn't mean that you can leave all your waste behind and litter the whole place for someone else to clean. Conservation and looking after our environment is super important here in Australia. And again, I know this sounds like common sense, but unfortunately it does happen. I've seen it firsthand, so please don't do so because it's disrespectful and we won't have any issues in telling you off.
Uh-oh.
Now, another massive mistake tourists make when they come to Australia is that they don't wear sun protection. And sometimes you see people there at the beach, especially tourists, roasting like chickens, sunbathing, and in many instances, perhaps they're not wearing sunscreen because you see them then get up and they're completely sunburned. And the issue is that many people don't realize that Australia's sun is very, very harsh. It's super spicy. We have very high radiation levels. So not applying sunscreen and not wearing a hat when you're here can actually lead to painful sunburns and increase the risk of skin cancer. So my best advice is to use sunscreen with a high SPF and reapply it regularly and wear a hat and sunglasses, especially if you're going to be spending time outdoors. Another pretty common mistake amongst those coming to Australia for the first time is that they don't bring warm clothing because they think that it's always hot. And it is true that Australia is well known for its warm climate, but the reality is that temperatures in this country can vary a lot depending on the region and time of the year. For example, if you're coming to the southern regions, such as Melbourne or Tasmania, here we have much cooler temperatures than in the north, to the point that during the winter months it actually snows in some parts of Victoria or Tassie. And even if you're going to Sydney, especially during the winter months, I highly recommend bringing warm clothes. Now, I know many tourists who actually come to Australia and they leave the country without having gone to a foodie match. Or in some instances, they don't even know what foodie is. And in my personal opinion, this is a mistake because this is a huge part of the Australian culture and it's a very unique sport to Australia. So if you have enough time and you want to do something beyond the typical tourist activities, I highly recommend going to a foodie match. It's an amazing experience to immerse yourself a bit more in the local culture. Another mistake many people make when coming to Australia is that they overlook Australia's indigenous culture. And if you didn't know, this country has a very rich indigenous heritage, dating back tens of thousands of years, including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and traditions. So if you really want to learn about Australia, I highly recommend taking the time to get familiar with Australia's indigenous history, arts, and perspectives. There are many Aboriginal guided tours in major cities, so you could definitely check that out.
Pause.
Now, something that
Y'all
many
already
people...
know. Wherever we go, we go into the history.
Yeah, that's
first,
important.
And the culture first. So I'm glad that she put that in there. I think out of all of the Australian videos, like the things to do, things to watch, things not to do, that we have watched over the years, she is the first person to mention Aboriginal culture.
Which is, yeah, I love that. That's a good thing. I think so far throughout this video, it's like everything she's mentioned, I feel like people could research and they can get that information from. But you can't overlook that license situation. I think the license situations can't get overlooked because when you have your passport, you look at that as a good, you know, you can put this in your hand and it's going to give you what you need in return.
Right.
So,
And some people leave it.
yeah, they do.
For whatever reason.
Coming to Australia don't know is that Australia is a super multicultural nation, which is reflected in its diverse culinary scene, from fresh seafood and the popular Australian barbecue and meat pies to multicultural dishes influenced by Asian, European and indigenous cultures. So once you're here, instead of limiting yourself to eating what you usually eat at home, I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone and go and explore and try all the different foods from different countries that Australia has to offer. You'll find lots of amazing flavors and very, very high quality ingredients. Now, speaking of the Australian food scene, another big mistake many international visitors make when they come to Australia is that they get their coffees from places like Starbucks, which they're all right, but the issue is that you can get that coffee anywhere in the world, and they don't go to authentic Australian cafes. Because if you didn't know, Australia is actually renowned for its high-quality coffee culture. So next time you come for a visit, don't forget to try the amazing Australian coffee. My favorites are the flat white and mocha.
That's what I'm saying. We just did a video, shout out to South Africa. They just got a Walmart. I'm like, I probably would have gone. I probably would check it out, like on the low, just to see what is, you know, what's the difference is going to look like. But I'm not there. I can do that when I get back home.
Right. A lot of people were trying to get us to go to like a museum of illusions and just fine. Different types of things that we could do in the United States.
We was just by
We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We want to do what y'all have.
Yeah, give me y'all coffee. I don't want the Starbucks in another. What?
Right, let me try something that's gonna have me fiending for it when I go back home.
Something I could talk about.
Right.
Oh, I tried Starbucks coffee out there.
I don't want to try.
Which flavor? We got the same one. No, I want
Well, I could pull up and go get.
I want them Australian beans.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I need right there.
Mistake is not knowing restaurants' opening hours. If you're from countries like Spain,
Whoa, from
Italy,
the
or
top.
South
From the
American
top.
country
One more
coffee,
time.
my favorites
hot
are
alley,
the
babe.
flat white and mocha. Another mistake is not knowing restaurants' opening hours. If you're from countries like Spain, Italy, or South American countries, it's very likely that you're used to eating very late at night, between 8:30 to 11 p.m. Well, this is not the case in Australia. So don't make the mistake of expecting that restaurants will be open at 10 p.m. for you to eat, because it's very likely they won't. Most restaurants here in Australia open at 5:30, 6 p.m., and the kitchen closes between 8 and 9 p.m. maximum. We have early dinners here, so make sure you consider this when you're making your plans for eating out. Another thing that many tourists and international visitors are not aware of is that Australia's major cities, particularly Melbourne, are home to a growing rooftop bar scene, offering stunning views of the city and the beach, delicious cocktails, and a super lively atmosphere. So don't make the mistake of not going to a rooftop bar when you're here. It's a nice activity to do in the evening, and you'll get to feel a bit more like a local. Now, if you want to know more about what it's like to live, work, study, and travel here in Australia, I highly recommend watching these videos here and here. And if you like,
We're gonna stop at that. Make sure you guys go and check it out. Yeah, like I mentioned, I think the license thing can get overlooked, especially if you want to go out there and then you do like some last minute. Let me do some driving experiences. Then you gotta have your license there. So
I don't know. I just feel like I am the tourist who do not want to drive in another country.
nothing wrong
That's
with
a
it.
luxury.
It is.
Okay, because first of all, I don't want to be the one to cause an accident. And they're going to be like, that American, No.
No,
Drive me
that's
around.
right.
All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.